Yeah.
Oh, this is such a set up.
Yeah, yeah.
Ask him if he can hear the room.
That might be different. What's on their house?
Hi, Courtney, can you hear me?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah, so we'll email to you.
Courtney, can you hear us?
The travel voucher that you can use anytime, and then, just deposit it and just email that to us. I don't know, and then, I don't know, it's official, right? She needs to, might get a check for your first time, and
Yeah.
then it goes forward.
Cody, and he's excellent about it. He won't answer emails.
Yeah.
Email, let's pick up the phone, call.
Yeah.
I like emails.
I'll pick it up. Next time I'll try to check.
Yeah, you would, I appreciate it.
Yeah, they, I was supposed to. Move it in the right direction.
I think they wanted to go, they just got on board. Yeah.
Thank you.
What don't you think?
2 o'clock, maybe.
Two.
No, probably less. I see it. 2 o'clock tonight, 1 to 2. So, okay, the 2 o'clock meeting is probably the office will be back at the office by 2 o'clock.
Because they were 125.
Do you ready?
At 2 o'clock.
Oh, wait, yes, we your first 125. Okay, so. So let's, Dave's not coming back for you. Rock and roll. That's a good thing to know. You would be happier for 125. Would have been nice to know that earlier, Jerry.
I mentioned it when we made the
Okay, we have failure to communicate. It was not passed out of the way.
I was told it would be a really good lunch. I didn't stick around.
All right. All right, Shirley, you're gonna have to do this quick. Okay, it is 12:33. We are back in session from recess. Let's move to board agenda item number 11, board evaluations of vendors. This is an information item. Shirley, you're on the clock.
You'll receive, board members will receive a survey monkey. Scott will be sending that out, but it will come through survey monkey. There will be, I think, 4 questions with each of the vendors within, in the answer part of the question. You'll rank them accordingly, and you can provide comments in survey monkey. When we get those back, we'll tabulate the results and bring you back that evaluation when we meet in fall. But I wanted y'all to be aware that that's coming. It'll be an assessment of those vendors that you see on your non-appropriated budget. Denham and Lauterbach is the firm that does investment accounting work for us. Of course, Jackson Walker, Weaver, and Roden Wisdom. So that survey monkey will come to you shortly. And we do this every year, this time of the year. And survey monkeys make it.
Okay. Any questions for Shirley on vendor monkey? Vendor monkey. Okay, agenda item 12, election of board officers, discussion and possible action. Officer positions take effect September 1st, 2021. And I have instructions depending on how this goes. Okay, so open the floor for nominations for board members. Open the floor.
Let me ask a question first.
Yes.
Can you give, are you all staying?
No, I was gonna say there's some of us that our term is up. Like I think mine's up in September, isn't that right, Jenny?
Are you? I think you have another year.
Do I? For some reason, I thought it was September of 21.
We can.
Maybe not. I can double check.
Yeah, I think Courtney and I are both up in September, and we just haven't heard back.
See, that's the hard part about doing the election.
Pilar, do you know?
Excuse me?
Sorry, Pilar, I didn't hear what you said. Did you say you thought it was this September?
Yeah, you and I were appointed at the same time. so
Right.
I think we both expired at the same time.
I'll look y'all up, y'all.
Like 10 days.
10 days from now.
But you serve until you're replaced.
Yes.
You serve until you're replaced.
But my point is if we don't know, it's hard to do an election without knowing if they're reappointed. It's like, why not continue?
Right. So,
You know?
so as long as I've been on the board, the holdovers has been like between 6 months and a year before you get a replacement.
Well, you have to, because it would be in the next session for someone to be confirmed.
So can we go ahead and vote if we want to continue you, and then if you got someone, you didn't get reappointed, then we would have to have a special election?
You would replace that position.
At a special meeting.
At your next meeting.
Okay,
If that is the board's pleasure to nominate, you can nominate by acclamation. The board as it is now, or the officers as they
You
are.
have to go through each officer position. You have to go through each officer position.
Well, you can, yes, you can make a motion and
And
name each person for and position.
another question to that same aspect, and maybe, you know, how, so does the governor's appointment office, do you guys ever get any indication if you
No.
have people in the vice or whatever? Right, see, so you really don't know, like you said, that makes a lot of sense, as long as people come back and fulfill that if the need comes. Well, obviously the need will come, but I mean, I know that at some point either they're gonna replace, or have you guys, do you have to put in something?
Oh, yeah, you have to
read it?
read it.
Is that all in for you guys? I mean, I guess that's the other question, if all of you and
Courtney,
have
have you
all put
reapplied?
in to reapply?
No, and I'm probably not going to. I spoke to Jenny about this separately. With 2 children now and working full time, it's quite a bit of a time commitment for me that I don't really feel comfortable making at this time.
Understand. So, and then that's the other point, that's why I was curious. As long as you can certainly come back at some point, it makes sense that, you know,
continue.
we elect as we do.
And then if she, if Courtney will, unless there's somebody else.
With that being said, I will not be offended if someone would like to take the place as secretary or investment committee chair.
And
Since 16.
I don't want anyone to feel like they're going to hurt my feelings.
Contact with them, state told me that Governor Adams was looking at replacing long-term appointees with you want to sure like more than 2 terms.
So what I understood was when I talked to the appointments office was that you weren't originally an added.
And one of the other points to that too, for our board, I think specifically, is finding someone in the finance or whatever, maybe the firefighter side of it is kind of like, most guys won't jump in there and say, yeah, I want to be part of that.
They won't.
No, it usually has to be a kind of a recruitment aspect of it.
Yeah, you have to know finances.
Kevin asked me over a phone, because I was calling him about a local issue.
And since we're talking about this, this is maybe
Is this closed or open? Are we open session?
Yes.
and if we, I mean, it kind of fits into the same, is that same issue, in my opinion. Everybody here is at that retirement, you know, age, as far as where it's at. And if you look at the way it is to be appointed, it talks about being an active member of the system. And so, do we still qualify? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, at first I was offended, like, I'm not ready to retire.
oh, yeah. But you know what I'm saying? So that.
Well, see, you're in the special, you're in the special category because you guys are specialists.
Right, and your field.
But for Pilar, myself, Nathan, Rod, and Matt, we
And
are
Ed.
firefighters that have a vested interest in.
Understand, yeah, okay, understand.
One position has to be retired.
Which is not
Yeah,
bad, right, but,
Right,
but yet the others, and that's, to me, as a legislator, change, it is a legislator change, but in the long term of things, will we continue to get, I mean, so that's something I think has to be addressed at some point.
and that's something that we do, like, Kevin reaching out to you. I know I met FAR and I went to see the FAR department and met with you and the chief, and then someone from Edinburgh having works in FAR. And I said, well, our chief's in town. And you know, it's having a bigger meeting, and I came back and told Kevin, you know, FAR knows an awful lot about our system. I think FAR needs to be on board. So it's through that and through our interaction, Scott said some. Going up there, we try to recruit people.
Ed is also firefighter.
Ed's a firefighter. Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah, very active firefighter.
But we had firefighter positions for firefighters. You were an active firefighter when you came to the board and you have since retired. But, as you know, our board, you serve until you're replaced, and that depends on the appointment office. Your confirmation occurs through the Senate at session, usually every regular session. So until we have news otherwise, with some of our board members that may no longer fit that active firefighter member position, or may not be reappointed through the appointments office by the governor. You keep on going.
For what it's worth, I do know that the investment professionals are usually replaced quickly compared to participating members or any other position, because we are abundant. So.
I just, like I said, there's a piece of that legislation that needs to be probably determined if there can be some change to it so that it does open that up. Because if you look at the qualified of it, you have to say that you're an active member of the department, of the system.
What he's getting at is if I'm going to retire from my appointment, I was an active member, can I retire? Right.
And I'm gonna say,
Well,
You say no, you say yes.
well, you can still be on the board, but you will be replaced because right now there's only one spot for a retiree.
right,
So that's what he's.
that's what I'm saying, it's like,
So I can't retire.
that's right, and
So
Yeah.
when you're.
so, I mean, I'm 57, and I can retire today if I wanted to, but I'm not, only because of that, I'm fulfilling my term, and, but
Think how much more pension you'll have.
not. But the whole point is, I just think that maybe that legislative piece of it is something that we could explore as a board, because I think that it will benefit the longevity of the board. Because unfortunately, the people that want to serve like this and what we're doing are folks that are out there a little bit later in life. And although everybody here is at retirement age or not, they're all still well versed in what this program is. And I think we also have a lot to give to it. So I think that maybe, looking into that, and I know that's a legislative change that we have to work otherwise, but I really think that, how that's.
But also having someone active is important too, so just maybe changing the percentage, so
The
it's
percentage
not
of
one
transfer, yeah.
out of, but maybe a different,
Absolutely.
I don't know how much control we have.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's all,
Yeah.
that's the point I was going to say.
Did you have a question? Did you have?
So we were just talking from the investment and just doing some planning.
Oh, okay.
Well, there is kind of doing some planning, knowing that, obviously Courtney, isn't gonna re-up, which is completely understandable, by the way. I am so impressed at how dedicated you've been with a newborn. So, and working and a 2-year-old.
I started before I had kids and now I have 2. So I have
You have a whole career. So kudos, but knowing, anyways, we were just kind of talking. Fortunately, he has just retired and has said he has more time. So that is awesome. I don't, that's my.
You're not going to either anytime soon.
No, it's time, like what she was saying, so. We're just fine. Okay.
So,
Madam Chair,
yes, sir.
no objection, would you have a problem being reappointed as chairperson.
The only concern that I have is, and it's been addressed, is I can almost say with certainty that the governor is not going, I was one of the few that he did reappoint. He's already reappointed me once. I have retired from the system and I am drawing a pension at this time. Do I enjoy this? Oh, so much. And I have the time to put into it. If it is the board's wishes that I stay, I will until he doesn't want me, until he gets somebody else to fill it. If that is the pleasure of the board.
We have comments now? Is this now comments? Or how does it work?
If you want to make a comment.
I think given the fact that we have 3 of you who are our current officers, who are faced with the exact same situation, the reality of the likelihood of the timing overlapping, Courtney potentially being sooner, given the information that she has, there may need to be 2 different reelections, right? Or there could be one. Y'all kind of fall in the same category, assuming there's nobody that's interested in proactively taking that position. So I would say we continue as, again, assuming no one is interested in
We
assuming.
still got our
any
board
leadership
meetings,
role.
I'll second motion.
Yeah, order meetings
I
on.
mean,
Do you follow? I
that's
mean,
your longevity. I mean, these
Correct.
guys, I mean, they serve.
correct.
Having them there is
It's
a benefit, but then getting us all on, that next level for us to continue on, because that's your,
I agree. I think it's a little concerning that our 3 could be rolling off at the same time. Is that fair? I think you
Boy,
and
do we have you fooled.
Do what?
I said, boy, do we have you fooled. No, I will say that I believe whenever we were elected to our positions, we kind of thought the same thing. And I remember thinking when Frank left,
Right.
I had full confidence in you, Jenny, but it was kind of a minute of, oh shoot, he's been here so long, are we going to be able to make this, without the people, we had some people on there for, I don't know, 16 years or something. So I understand what your concern is, but I also have full confidence and you're all very confident people who care deeply and passionately about this. So, you're going to be in good shape regardless. But I mean, in regards to, I think it would be a wise move if you do decide, just my humble opinion, if, Jenny, as long as you stay in place and Pilar too, I mean, if you just maintain your office, I don't have a problem turning my position over because like I said, I mean, we're kind of a dime a dozen. Some of us are better than others, but, Jerry and Steph, both of you are obviously very capable as well. So just for what it's worth, that's my opinion. I think we'll be just fine, Don't feel like the wheels are going to fall off, Rod. It'll be fine.
Courtney, can I ask you a very honest opinion? Is just given all your demands, would it feel, you 2 would like to proceed until you're reappointed? Would you like to?
No, I'm not going to be, I can guarantee you.
Okay, until the replacement.
Okay.
Until we have to have a special election. Fair? Would you like us, Jerry?
Steph, I believe you're asking me, would I like Jerry to take over?
Because of your demands personally?
Sure. I think, can I nominate Jerry, if that's okay with you, Jerry? Can I nominate you to chair the investment committee?
Sure.
I don't know about the secretary position. I don't know if that's something of interest of you, and I don't mind doing that part until later, but,
Secretary's position, you can't.
Yeah, the investment committee is.
I agree. I think I would like to move forward and nominate Jerry if he would be willing to accept.
For the secretary?
No, for the investment committee
You don't
chair.
have to do that, because that's a committee. We're just talking about board officers.
Right.
I thought we were also addressing committee too.
No.
Not right now?
The chair appoints committee.
Oh. Well, Jenny, I guess you know what my desires are. No need to have an outside conversation. No, I think go ahead. I have no problem being replaced as secretary. So whoever is willing to step up and take the role, that would be great.
You want to nominate somebody for secretary?
Is there anybody that would like to be secretary, and I'll nominate you? Jerry, I'd love to nominate you for secretary.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor from Courtney to nominate Jerry Romero as secretary of the TESRS board. I have a motion. I have a second by Stephanie and Matt. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed except Jerry?
And Jerry, I hope you'll take over the committee chair. I hope Chairwoman, I hope you take that under your little cap there.
Only as soon as I'm getting paid double.
That's right. Okay, we still have the position of board and board chair,
Chair, go ahead.
or chair and vice chair.
I would like to make a motion to nominate Jenny as board chair to continue, and Pilar to continue as vice chair until such a time that we need to have a special.
Motion by Jerry, second by Matt. You okay with it? Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Can I just add one more thing?
You can do anything you want.
No, oh, that's, but I do think this is a good opportunity, knowing that when we just look at the probability of things, that there is gonna be a transition period, if there are other people that are interested, to use this time almost as an unofficial calls, unofficial succession planning. Because we should always have succession planning within a board, and, you know, COVID made that a little hard because we've not been interacting, but, you know, maybe that's a silver lining of today. You know, in terms of, we can do a little bit of succession.
Yeah, I want to make a comment about Rodney's, about your comment about board composition, and that we, you know, because it is, you know, we do have should have 5 active members of the system on the board. And I know that as in the past, when we had members of the board that stayed for, you know, 12 and 15 years, there's a lot of value in that, but there's, you know, there's also that lack of opportunity for other members of the system that might be interested to come in. And I want to encourage all of you to and staff too, whenever you're talking with departments and you find those individuals that are really interested in the plan and they're willing to help you out as you recruit or talk to others. We keep those names, you know, keep those names coming in and encourage them to contact people. I know that we appreciate, the staff appreciates the work of this board a lot. We're always glad to meet with you and let you know what we're doing. And I'm like the board, we have all the confidence in the world. You guys are taking care of things. So I really appreciate what you do.
I'll just have one piece of clarification. You are an active member, you became a retiree. So as long as you started in that role, if you change in the role, that's okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Until you're,
Until you're renewed,
Yeah.
until that renewal comes up, which you're up. So, okay.
I'm not only
That one
up.
spot's replaced already. So I see what you're saying. You have to go out. You
Not
don't-
only am I up, I don't have, there's no spot for me, as Rodney pointed out, there is no spot for me on the
So
board.
you change, while you're in term, you're okay, but when your up comes, okay. And then you go on the legislative side, which will take 2 years or more.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Well, then maybe rebalance that to 2.
Yeah, like you said, get a different percentage in there, maybe, because
Just reword it.
we're, yeah,
When did they
we're
meet
not.
normally? 2023?
I'm sorry.
When is the legislature? Yes, they don't agree.
2023. So we could still be here till 2023.
Possibly.
And don't forget, you're serving a 6-year term. That's a long time to be on the board.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I'm just thinking of the future, because I just think that it's, I mean, when's the last time you had someone under 35 years old on the board?
Me?
Firefighter.
Yeah, no, yeah, I just.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Most of
it depends. I know for the next 2 weeks, the governor's not gonna be doing a whole lot except resting. Yeah, I mean, it is, well, but he has been known to leave people in till the next legislative session. He's been known to next September, come next December, you may have 3 new board members sitting here.
That's right.
But I know that he put me in place, even before the nomination.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you guys haven't even been confirmed yet.
Well,
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
We
okay.
were in this session.
Yes,
year.
Okay.
Regular session.
Because Kevin forgot to tell me I might have to testify before then. I was like,
No, that process, you will be nominated and come serve on the board, and then the Senate confirmation will happen at whatever the next regular session.
We've all been confirmed, yeah.
We're all confirmed. Okay.
All right.
Any other discussion about the board and the makeup? All right. So let's move on to request for future agenda items. Because the governor has decided that we are going back to in-person meetings, all meetings going forward will be in person. Pretty much, I know you do. Pretty much like this, we have met on a quarterly basis. Usually late November, early December, somewhere around the 10th or so, but we have always met in December. February 15th, just every quarter. We have certain things to do, and that's what we will do. Check your calendars. I will get with the office and send out possible dates, and majority is going to rule on that for December meetings.
Our December meeting, what I remember about the calendar, there's that last week, or last 2 days of December are Monday and Tuesday. At the end of November, December is the, there's an unaudited,
There's something that has to be
the
done.
unaudited annual financial report that will come before the board. Also, there's, and these dates, these quarters fall in sync too with the quarterly reports from the investment consultant. So there's, but there's other things that will actually come in. The unaudited annual financial report will come in before the December 10th.
20th.
So they're, and we know we have Thanksgiving in there too. So if it's due November 20th, then we're going to need to probably have that meeting somewhere that week prior to Thanksgiving.
Like November 11th.
Yeah.
Or the 18th. When is Thanksgiving?
It's going to be the
Third.
third.
It is the 20th. Would anybody have issues? Okay,
That we can do.
either the 11th or the 18th.
18th is solid for me.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
I just got one question, Vinny. I know what the governor's order says, but without legal counsel here, I would say, even after September 1st, as long as we got a quorum here, can we still avail the Zoom part of it?
We can, I believe we can,
As long as we have a quorum sitting.
as long as we
I
have
think that
one
can open
sitting.
it up and, oh, as long as it's published, we can still have Zoom, that might facilitate coordinating if something comes up, we can't all be here, then we can still take care of business.
I think that whenever Dave spoke about today, we still have today until the end of the month.
Right.
Those provisions in place where we can have virtual, we could have had this meeting virtually.
Right.
After September 1st, all of the suspensions that were under his executive order of the Open Meetings Act, all of the suspensions expired.
However, we did have, we have had before where we had
Yeah.
1 or 2
Call in.
people that were calling in.
Had to, we just have
Still
to
participate.
just call in.
As long as you got a quorum sitting,
Correct.
you can still participate and open it up to the rest of the board and not be able to attend, is the way that I understand it.
But I think after September.
No, but we had it before COVID.
This was before COVID. This
Yeah.
was the rule
We
before
had to have
COVID.
a quorum.
Yes.
Exactly,
we
we
had
have
a quorum.
exactly, which we did today, and we would have to go.
That might help coordinate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just the difference is we now are at the embrace of technology that allows us to see the video, or before we just call it.
I would have loved to have been there in person today, but I did tell Jenny with 2 babies at home, especially one that's 6 months old, I just wasn't, it's not worth it to me to take the risk right now. Even though I'm fully vaccinated, but.
Totally understood, totally understood. And you can't ask who is or is not fully vaccinated.
So you're looking at the 11th or the 18th, right?
11, 30, 18.
So, and you have to have it by the 20th, so if it's on the 18th, then you do it first.
Well, that was, we, against, accounting firm, what works with that. And so, there's a process to move it to where we can submit it.
So we need to go to board.
You can do it on
I
18th.
mean, it won't be.
I can do the 18th, I can do the 11th. I'll be missing one.
How about 18?
18th is fine, yeah.
18th works.
11th is better than the 18th.
Yeah.
But
18th,
18th.
18,
Ed?
Ed, 18,
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
November 18th will be our next meeting.
Don't say that.
Um,
I'm gonna do it here again. We'll try it out.
Cassandra will be making your arrangements for you. Do not go out on your own and make your own
I
arrangements.
did it.
Okay.
I just thought we might go no fast.
No, we'll have to carry it up for probably springtime to be better.
on the point you were just talking about, the percent, these 2 guys that I don't know if they're the expense form, they probably think that. We were finding out last night just to make sure they know how. But then the other question I was gonna ask you is just that, as far as when we talk about future stuff or whatever, having a possibility, especially the fact that whether you guys stay for a long time or not or whatever, back to the thought process of the some kind of a planning session or some session that we get together for a few days to talk about long-term stuff for this board. And because certainly whether getting that input from you and even maybe some of the previous board members, feeding some of that information back to us to help, plan for our future. I just want to throw it out. I know we talked about it before COVID.
We said we were gonna sit down and come up with a 2, 4, and 6-year plan
Yes,
that aligned with the legislative sessions.
absolutely. And we figured maybe 2 days is what we thought, but we thought about trying to do some different things.
You know what, if for ease, we have an airport right here, I wouldn't mind having a 2-day session here just before board meeting. You can take off 3 days or so. No,
Yeah, and I'm just, like I said, I'll throw it out there, whatever we can do, it would be great. I just, something we need to really have a process to sit down and really think about where we want to go with things.
I think we have.
Well, and maybe, first started to set up an agenda and then see
Yes.
how long that's gonna take, it not be 2 days, let's just think through what, and oftentimes we do this all the time, my team, we actually bring a facilitator.
Yes.
Because then it's very much on point, we have an absolute objective of what we're trying to accomplish by each section. And, we walk away then with key takeaways and what our action plan is.
say you already got something on rule or legislative on the books already now.
Well, it's not just on the books, I throw it out.
Well, you got it on our books.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Now,
absolutely.
and succession planning should be another topic, how do you, without knowing who's coming, but how do we create a seamless transition?
So with that, even if there was something that we did, maybe not even being together, or we did, send out some information to get inputs from all the board members. But I guess the question is who are some good facilitators? I think we had this discussion about, hey, who might be a good facilitator? Maybe that person could lead us into that and then have a sit down session for maybe a day or half day or whatever. Or,
Kevin, do you?
Yeah, and I think potentially, but it's also, there are people that are experts in facilitating strategic planning sessions for public entities.
correct.
I know one that does for nonprofits.
Courtney has a question.
Hey, one thing I know that we had mentioned in the past, and I think it's worth throwing out there, if we wanted to bring someone who had experience, but isn't on the board currently, I do think Frank could also be a great resource to bring in, even as a facilitator. I think he would probably be a really good one because he's at least familiar with what the goals, objectives, it's a very, as we all know, it's a very unique plan. And so I think it would be beneficial to have someone with history.
That's very,
Very true.
important.
I agree with that. Frank is very knowledgeable, and he really has a good sense of thinking ahead. I've always enjoyed working with Frank. I've worked with Frank for many years, and he's done a great job. So I think he'd be a good pick.
Okay. Do we have, so we have November 18th is locked. We have, and then we're gonna follow every 3 months from there. And you'll just send out, we won't pick dates now, you'll send out some options or something.
I think we need to look and see what we have to have done with actuarials and audits and
Perfect.
and things before we, just
Agreed.
like this one. I mean,
Yeah.
we could have thrown out any date.
Agreed.
So
Usually, like Gene has the script, that February, it's usually the middle of February, because it gives John 25 days from the end of the calendar report. So those, that mid-February, mid to late February, mid to late May, and then mid to late August.
Yeah.
And that pulls John's quarterly report. so
Perfect.
whatever we do. So,
Thanks, Jerry.
Jerry,
He's got a question.
nice to meet you.
Jerry.
Thank you for what
Thank
you do for
you.
us.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of the week.
Yeah.
okay, any more requests for future agenda items? Having said none, motion to adjourn.
There it is.
Motion by Jerry, second or? Second by.
Second.
All those in favor? Say aye.
Uh,
Thank you.
Take care.